Hello, guys, and welcome to Statman and Robin, a weekly show where me and Adam break down things surrounding the club from a statistical point of view. And on today's show, we're going to be taking a look at stats from the disappointing 4-0 against Liverpool in comparison to the Dutch Cup final between Ajax and PSV, which Ajax lost. But before we get into that, obviously, we have to discuss the breaking news that Erik ten Hag is officially Manchester United's manager starting from June when the season ends. Now, Adam, we discussed this on Instagram about around 12 o'clock when it first initially broke. But as we're currently on a show together and you're Ten Hag's number one fan, let's talk some more. So Ten Hag is official. Contract until 2025 with an option for a further year. He's going to see the season out with Ajax and then start work with Manchester United in June imminently. Ahead of a busy transfer window, of course. We all know it was just a matter of time before they actually announced it. And now it's been announced, the work behind the scenes can really start. So just your first initial thoughts on that, Adam. I know we spoke about it briefly before, but yeah, how are you feeling now it's had time to kind of settle in? You know what I mean?
I'm still feeling quite buzzed from it. The worst kept secret in football is now out.
Like everything with United in it, the secrets, they cannot keep a secret, stay alive. No,
we can't. It felt like we dragged the backside of it, to be honest. It felt like it was going on forever, but it's finally happened now. And I'm just looking forward to the future now because it looks like there is big changes happening behind the scenes as well. And I'm really excited now for next season. I just want this season to end.
Yeah, like us all, we're all kind of just like waiting for it to be over because there's nothing to look forward to really in it, especially after Arsenal getting that result last night against Chelsea, which was a massive result for them. So it's kind of top four is just Tottenham or Arsenal now for me. That's the way it is. But just going back to Ten Hag, This is a rebuild. This is tearing the wall down that's got mold deep inside the brick, and the whole thing needs knocking down. There's potential for it to get worse, of course, before it gets better. I used the analogy before, Adam, as you know, if you used to pour alcohol on a cut, it may sting straight away, and you feel like it's a bit of a bastard, but essentially it's cleaning the wound for the long term, and that's the approach I would take with Ten Hag. He isn't David Blaine. We won't be challenging for the title next season, but hopefully we can see a change in mentality, attitude, commitment, with fresh players and fresh ideas, and with work being conducted off the pitch like all the top clubs in Europe do. That's the main thing for me. A lot of quotes suggesting that he'll have £200 million to spend. And I have no doubt that's true because every time we seem to spend big, it's when we're out of the Champions League and they're like, oh shit, what should we do? We need to get back up there. So that is interesting to see how they manage that. But for me, Adam, I'm not sure about you. I'm more concerned about the outgoings, like who leaves. How many players do you think potentially could actually leave United this summer?
It wouldn't surprise me, as Ralph said, 10. It could be up to 10, which is nearly half the squad, and the other half remaining are probably going to be a load of youngsters. You have players running out of contract. You have obvious players who don't want to be here. Martial's coming back. He's not going to fit into this a Ten Hag system, let's be honest. So for me, he's going to be gone, and you have to get these players out because you've seen the negativity they bring when they're sitting on the bench. Look at all the leaks that came out, especially around December time when players weren't getting starts. So you're better off cutting your losses. If you had to pay out the contracts, I don't care. That's what Man City done. They've done it before. We had to start acting like a big club. Get these players out, no matter what. I actually heard it earlier. We almost need to have a sacrificial lamb. It feels like one big name.
Yeah,
a big name just to prove, even if they have a 5-year contract, I don't care. Get them out the door. Prove now this is the start of something new. And you have to put effort in or you're not fit to wear the shirt and you're out the door.
And that could even be a Ronaldo. He could just walk in. Like, there's been rumours of that he just wants to get rid of Ronaldo and bring like a young, fresh striker and young, fresh ideas. And I saw a thing before saying, look, if you're going to support this manager, he might get rid of some of your favourite players. He might kick out the likes of Rashford, who are considered sweethearts in Manchester United's eyes. And as Romano said, he's spoken about wanting to have full control of the club. and everything in place. So whatever it is he said behind closed doors, United have agreed to it. So interesting to see what happens there. I expect a lot of youth to get promoted. I think James Garner, Hannibal Mabry, maybe Ahmad when he's back. I expect them to feature under him and maybe develop into really good players. I know it's very early doors to say that, but from the talent they've got, watching Garner at Forest, seeing glimpses of Ahmad and Hannibal, obviously the cameo we put on the other day was only for like 5-10 minutes, but instantly came on and he just looked hungry. And I think that's the route he may end up taking. But I want to throw one concern out that I have. I know Ten Hag is a wonderful coach tactically and he's great at developing young players and, you know, he's good at a lot of things. But as I touched on before on the Instagram Live, we have seen Manchester United swallow up some of the best managers to ever manage on the planet. Louis van Gaal, the things he's done at Ajax, ironically, and Barcelona, and then Jose Mourinho at Chelsea, Inter Milan, Real Madrid, Porto, done phenomenal jobs. They come here, they got undermined, and ultimately end up leaving on a sour note. Most of the managers, really, apart from Ollie was the only one that didn't really leave on a sour note, and that's because he was the club's best friend anyway.
Yeah. So
that's one thing I don't want to, like we do with players. I do. How Bruno's looking now, we seem to make him worse, and I don't want to bring Ten Hag here as this sort of this brainiac and tactical masterclass, tactical. I don't know what the word is. Superhero, let's say a tactical superhero, because he's that good. Like you watch him play, and they play phenomenal. I just don't want him to come to United and be just dragged down basically by the owners and the board. Do you think there's a potential for that to happen?
That's the thing. We know how Manchester United acted, especially behind the scenes in the last decade, and it hasn't always been in the best interest of what's happening on the pitch. Let's be honest. It's Louis van Gaal put it. We're a commercial club, and I couldn't agree more than him. It's what we have. It's the way we've been acting the last 10 years, but it feels like their profits have started to, take a bit of a dip, and that's because of what's happening on the pitch.
Yeah,
I read the only thing that made them kind of almost break even has been the Ronaldo shirts, and that's the truth. That's probably
and
we paid
TikTok clips as well, and fucking retweets and all that kind of stuff is probably keeping them afloat as well. You seem to brag about that a lot.
But it's gonna, if you don't have on the pitch success, we're gonna dwindle and we're gonna fall off. It's gonna happen, and that's why they need to change things behind the scenes. And I think they notice that now, and that's why I feel like this is one of the reasons why this man was appointed. And you've seen the two scouts get thrown off now, and hopefully we can get Paul Mitchell coming in now. That's the next step.
For me, like I'm not naive enough to think if United carry on the way they have been running things, this appointment will be no different, and we'll be in the exact same spot within the next 3 years. And we'll be saying we need a new manager with fresh ideas and all this kind of shit. So it's really important we make sure the ground beneath the Ten Hag plane is perfect, so it just takes off. We will have a little bit of turbulence at the start, but as long as you can progressively see things going like that, I think he'll be really important for the club, and I think he can genuinely make a change, which is why he's been appointed. If he can replicate the style of football and ethos he has at Ajax and win games with that, then it's the perfect scenario. But there's a lot of things that need to happen in place in order for him to succeed, and that starts with the board and everything from top to bottom for me. So interesting. We've not had much positive news of late. Like we said, it's been a draining season, so having something like this, I suppose it's the one thing we can kind of cling on to at the minute and be like, right, when does the next season start? Like, I'm looking more forward to the transfer window now to the end of the season. Legit, honestly, I'm looking forward to who we bring in, who we get rid of. We finally get rid of some players like Lingard and Pogba and Matic and Mata, who are just stinking out the place for me at the minute. I'm happy to let them go, and that's nearly £1 million a week on wages that frees it up. You bring some young players through. It'll just be fresh, Adam. Like pre-season, it'll just be like you're seeing different ideas, different style of play. It's more than welcome for me. So unless you have anything else to say on Erik Ten Hag, we're obviously going to touch on his stats a little bit later on. We are going to look at both the games we mentioned before. So Adam, if you want to start us off with United versus Liverpool, the general match stats, which I know, guys, is depressing. bear with us, but it's just a comparison. So Adam's going to do the one for Liverpool versus United, and I'm going to do the Ajax versus PSV stats.
Yeah, so we're going from, ecstasy to this now. So, yeah, two different moods, a mood swing. Here we go. So the ball possession, obviously the big one, Ten Hag likes to hold on to the ball, be attacking with it. Liverpool had 72% possession and we had 28%, which is no surprise. Their first goal in particular, I think they had a spell of 77 seconds without us touching the ball on the lead up to the first goal. So, yeah, which shows that we didn't press them at all. We just sat back, and just a depressing look, honestly. So 14 shots to Liverpool, 2 for us, 5 on target and 1 on target for us. Again, we created nothing. Awful.
Who's that one on target now? Was that shot from Sancho? That team shot from Sancho, wasn't it? I went through the legs.
It could have been that. Now I don't know if they added. I say they didn't. Was it the Elanga chance? It was actually onside, but it was ruled off. So would that have been a shot on target? He hit at the keeper.
No, that would have been ruled out. So it must have been the Sancho one that they threw on there, which was a poor shot anyway. So yeah,
exactly. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Then you look at fouls, 3 for Pool and 6 for us, which is no shock again because we were the heavily defending team. They were on us like beans on toast. Big chances 4. Of course, they scored 4 goals, and big chances missed 2. And for us, 0 big chances, and again, big chances missed 0. None. Shocking reading all this, and this is a bit of the worry now. Shots inside the box, 11 for Liverpool, 1 for us. Shots outside the box, 3 then, of course. And goalkeeper saves, 1 for Alisson and 1 for David De Gea. And De Gea, of course, conceded 4. But for me, I don't think he was responsible for any of the goals.
It wasn't. It'd be harsh to say that he was at fault for him. But yeah, we'll get onto De Gea a little bit later in a different aspect.
Mm-hmm. Passes 897 for Liverpool, 354 for us, which
a third nearly in it.
Yeah. Now this is a big stat. Accurate passes 818 for Liverpool, which is 91% success rate. Accurate passes for us. Yeah,
crisp on the ball, weren't they? In that game, the one-touch passing. Thiago as well was just unreal.
Different gravy. Mm-hmm. 260 accurate passes for us, which is a 73% success rate. Shocking. It's one of the lowest this season for us. We couldn't string a pass together at all. Then you look at the long balls, 34 for Liverpool, 34 successful ones out of 59, which is 58% success rate. 14 out of 44 for us, which is 32%, which again is a surprise. If you're a defending team, you should be attempting the long ball a lot more. But no, again, we didn't have any creativity up front. Crosses, Liverpool had 4 out of 17 successful crosses. We had 2 out of 6, so it's no surprise they had 17. They like to play with their wing backs to block, get it into the box.
The issue is with that, we have Wan-Bissaka as the wing backs, and what do you call it?
Both sides.
But yes, he did play both sides, but we had Dalot on the other side. So even though we had 5 in defence, we had the 2 that were marking. One was marking obviously Salah, and one was marking Mane. But then the wing backs still got freedom down the side, as you saw from the first goal. On that right hand side, there was 2 of them free, who got in behind Dalot, and Maguire tried pressing up and got done. So the marking was absolutely terrible. And Trent and Robertson had space all night, and you know what they can do with the ball, especially with the crosses into the box and stuff. So, shocking from United.
Yeah, it's just the one avenue that you had to shut down for Liverpool, shut down their fullbacks. And I know you had to watch out for the front 3, but we didn't do that. And particularly that first goal, Maguire dropping into midfield, getting sucked into the play. It opened up that space, Dalot out of position. He started on the left, didn't he? So he got dragged up the field quite high. And of course, we know what happened next. Possession lost 136 times for them, 134 for us.
See, that's
mainly,
crazy. So we've literally lost the possession the same amount of times as them, and they've had 3 times as many passes as us.
Yeah,
pretty much. That is fucking mental.
Them losing possession was from creating chances. Us losing possession was, just clearing the ball.
Yeah, so if you was to times that, if you was to do it on an average, I know football doesn't always work like that, but so you times that by 3, you're talking nearly 400 passes that had been misplaced or whatever, maybe a little bit over. If we had the same amount as Liverpool had been, the 900 or 890 or whatever, we would have lost nearly 50%.
And now the expected goals. This is what we have been waiting for. Liverpool had an expected goals of 2.26. United had 0.12 expected goals.
Yeah.
And this is I have some mad stats here. And
I think that's even being kind with them with the XG. Expected goals 0.12. I wouldn't even put it that. I think that's high for us.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Manchester United registered 0.0 expected goals in the first half, and they failed to even attempt a shot in the opening 45 minutes. That's the first time they failed to do so in a half since April 2018 against City. I think I mentioned that after the game. Of course, we came back and won that game. There's no chance of that happening in this game.
Saying that.
Yeah. And obviously our eventual 0.12 is the lowest of the season, 7 times lower than our worst against Man City last November. It's also United's worst expected goal output since that has been recorded. So that just goes to show how bad we were up front.
Can you imagine Ten Hag just listening to them stats there, just thinking, fucking hell, I've got a lot of work to do. So much work to be done. Like there's not just one great area, it's 5-6 areas that you need addressing.
Yeah, exactly. It's awful reading. It doesn't get any better because I have some more stats here. Liverpool's 9 goals against Manchester United this season has accounted for 12% of their total Premier League goals this season. So again, shocking. The 9-0 aggregate defeat to Liverpool represents United's worst over 2 games to any opposition team in Premier League history. Yep, shocking again. United have conceded 15 goals against the runaway top 2 in Liverpool, like City and Liverpool this season. Only Leeds have conceded more to the title chasers. So you have the likes of Burnley, you have Everton again not performing well. Norwich, no. United are only second to Leeds, and we know how Leeds like to play, which again is no surprise. It's the gulfing class between us and them. It's scary how far we've fallen off, and Ten Hag has a very big job on his hands.
Main thing for me, Adam, in that game was watching how crisp and clean they were on the ball when they got it. Like when they got a transition, every single pass was spot on. It was nailed to the foot. Like everybody had Velcro on the feet, and then when they wanted to release it, it was like an arrow, like straight away. The pass from Mane for was it the first goal, or it might have been the second goal for Salah, where he did he's on the back shoulder, but he does like an inverted pass in behind, and it's absolutely bang on. And someone like a Bruno Fernandes, who we'd usually see that. We haven't seen something like that in ages. The last time I seen him did a pass like that was against Young Boys when he set up Cristiano Ronaldo for that volley with the outside of his foot. That's the last time I've seen something like that. Now, obviously, it doesn't happen every game. I'm not saying that, but we haven't seen an assist like that. Just like a nice, beautiful assist. Like Thiago, the reason why I mentioned Thiago before is because he is the embodiment of that. He's on the ball, he is so good for technically. He's unreal. And we have no player that's even close to that who can play like that. I know we were saying he didn't fit in the first year for Liverpool, but this year he's been since they've become a little bit more possession based. You saw the second half, they just dropped into second gear and they just played Barcelona sometimes just knock it about. We don't need to overexert ourselves. We could just see this game out, and then they still scored another 2 goals just playing like that. So that was the one thing that worried me in that game.
Yeah. And here's another one. Mohamed Salah has now scored 5 goals against Manchester United this season. That's more goals than Paul Pogba, Cavani, and Anthony Martial have between them for Manchester United this season. Obviously, he holds the record for the most goals against United in a Premier League season now. And
can I just throw something back at you?
Yeah.
Marcus Rashford has scored less goals than Mo Salah has against us. So, like you said, Mo Salah scored 5 against us this season, on it. Yeah. I think Marcus Rashford has scored 4 goals all season.
Jeez, shocking. And I'm sure we'll get on to him, who he's had an awful season. Liverpool's 4-goal haul was twice as many goals as Manchester United have scored at Anfield during Jurgen Klopp's entire reign. So we've only scored 2 goals at Anfield. And I think Klopp is now the longest serving Premier League manager currently sitting.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we've only scored 2 goals since he's been in charge.
Against Anfield. Liverpool?
Yeah, at Anfield in 8 trips.
I don't know what I don't know what reaction to get. I'm just like, yeah, shocked a little bit.
Okay, you're going to be shocked about this next one too.
Go on.
Manchester United have now conceded 48 goals this season. That's 3 more than Burnley, who's sitting 18th in the league table and look doomed to draw.
That is relegation tackle, that, isn't it? To be fair, we've been saying that for the past few weeks. The way out coming into that Everton game, we literally said, I think we drew 1 and lost 4, or won 1 and lost 4, I think it was, when we beat Tottenham, but then lost to Atletico and a lot of others, Man City and stuff. And we were saying before that it's like a relegation battle, looking at the form of the 2 teams. And then Everton still ended up winning that. So it's just, it's really bad, isn't it? It's probably the worst season since Fergie's left, to be honest.
Yeah,
well, definitely.
100%. Yeah, I can't remember it being this bad. We have that light at the end of the tunnel, I'm hoping.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping we get there sooner rather than later. But till then, you got it. Yeah. What's the saying? Short-term pain, long-term gain.
Yeah, that's it. Get the alcohol on that wound, man. Clean it out. It'll sting, but then it'll get better. It'll get better.
Yeah. That kind of concludes the Liverpool game. So hopefully we can get into more positive news now.
Well, yeah. So for anyone who saw the game against Ajax and PSV, I've seen the highlights of it. I didn't watch the full game, but to be fair, Ajax were pretty unlucky in that. I think they got 2 goals disallowed or something along the lines. PSV ultimately ended up winning it, but just looking at the stats, obviously Ajax had more possession. They had 59%. PSV had 41, but then the shots and shots on target, PSV was slightly better. They had like 14 shots, 5 on target, 6 off target. Ajax had 8 shots, 2 on target, 4 shots off target. So offensively, they were a little bit better in that aspect, but as I said, they still had 2 goals disallowed. Corner kicks, offside, fouls, yellow cards were all pretty much identical in that respect. Obviously, with it being a cup final, them games are kind of a lot closer, aren't they? When it comes to stuff like that. Big chance. Now, this is the thing. You can talk about shots and stuff like that, but big chances. Ajax had 2. Big chances, missed 2, and they hit the woodwork once. Again, even on counter attacks and things like that, I don't want to dive into that too much. But then you get to the passing percentage and stuff. So Ajax had 500 passes. PSV had 343. Ajax had a greater percentage again. They had 78%. PSV had 67%. So they completed 388 passes, Ajax. Long balls, again, doubled it pretty much in percentage. Ajax had 60%, so 39 out of 65. PSV had 22 out of 58, which is 38%. And then crosses, so PSV had 1 out of 13, 8% crosses. Ajax had 7 out of 14, so 50% of the crosses completed, which is, really good.
Quite high.
Yeah. And then dribbles, again, it was better in the dribble percentage. Possession lost. Ajax lost it slightly more, but again, the onus is on them because they've got a lot more of the ball. They've got an extra 20%, so that's obviously more likely, but they only lost it 19 more times in the whole game, as a whole team. So the duels won very similar, aerials won very similar. tackles, they made slightly more tackles and interceptions, again, because Ajax had more of the ball, so naturally they're going to do that. Mm-hmm. But you can see the possession-based kind of thing. If you go look back at any of Ajax's games, they dominate possession a lot of the time. But they can play on the counter-attack as well if needed. They've got them kind of players who can be creative and quick enough. So, yeah, I just thought that was an interesting read. They obviously lost that game 2-1. It would have been nice for Ten Hag to win a trophy, I suppose, before he left, but he's still probably going to get the Eredivisie title, so that'll be a nice goodbye for him. That's the match completed. Let's dive into the individual players from both the games we've just been talking about, Adam, and I'll kick it off. So the first one I wanted to compare was Daley Blind. So Daley Blind in that game, 84 touches, 83.6 pass accuracy, 5 out of 6 long balls, 1 interception, 1 tackle, and 1 out of 2 dribble attempts. So that's Daley Blind. Then you go on to Diego Dalot, who most people said had a really good game. I disagree. He had the same amount of touches as Blind, had 44% pass accuracy, accurate passes, which is just shit. 1 out of 7 long balls, which again proves he cannot. He'll struggle in a Ten Hag system if he's playing like that. Mm-hmm. And lost possession 24 times, which is crazy. Defensively, he actually did okay against Salah. So we had 4 interceptions, 4 tackles, 1 block shot, and 2 clearances, which is decent. But offensively, like we always talk about Ten Hag, Adam, these wing backs dropping in to help build up. They're going to have to be much better and much more crisp on the ball, aren't they? If they're going to, if you look at how Trent is on the ball, for example, he's as good as Beckham, De Bruyne, or anyone like that for me, how he passes the ball. Dalot was nowhere near that. Absolutely nowhere near that. And he's the one who's that you actually regarding as the one to be decent offensively. Innit? Yeah. So you kind of like, meh. Another one I wanted to look at was David De Gea. Let me get David De Gea's stats now. I've been banging his drum for time.
You have.
For so long, and it's getting frustrating now. But more so the Liverpool game, and for anyone who watched that, it was just his distribution was shit, absolutely shit, decision making shit, and that's where you build up starts. That's why I think it's interesting when Ten Hag comes in, what he's going to do with it, whether he's going to do what Pep did with Joe Hart and just be ruthless and bring someone else in, or if that's not a main priority for him at the minute, because that's another person. Like a lot of people forget, he's our highest paid player. He's the highest paid keeper in the world. And he hasn't got both sides of the game. It's in comparison. You look at Alisson in that Liverpool game, Adam, like it's miles off.
I have his stats here if you don't have them.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go through De Gea's and then you can go through Alisson's if you want. So David De Gea had 26 touches, 47.4 accurate passes, so 9. He had 3 out of 12 long balls, which is shit again. 1 clearance, and then the rest were just pretty like. He got a 5.6 rating in that game, and I think even that's being kind. Do you want to run us through Alisson's stats?
Yeah. Well, just speaking of his overall rating, 7.4, and this is a guy who wasn't actually really tested at all. Just goes to show, he's been playing with the ball at his feet a lot, particularly in this game. So you're looking at it, his passes, he attempted 59, completed 54 of them, which is 92%. And then I'm going to
straight away that's an extra 50% of what De Gea's got.
An extra 50% overall. That's actually crazy. Then you look at his long balls. He attempted 8, and 4 of them were a success. I remember at one stage where he kicked it. Was it straight? Was it towards Mane? I think it was.
Drilled it to Diaz or Mane. I know exactly what you're on about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they're straight away on the attack. It bypasses our attack, our midfield, and it's straight into defending for us. So it is a worry with it now, and especially in the Ten Hag system, I can see it being an issue. So it wouldn't surprise me now if we're looking at other options, because let's be honest, Henderson, is his distribution that good? Is it as good as De Gea?
I think it's better than De Gea's. One thing that sticks out for me is the goal Luke Shaw scored against City under Rolly last season, where he throws it out straight away. Luke Shaw chests it down, drives it up the pitch, gives a 1-2 with Rashford, and then he places it at the bottom right corner. And that's from quick thinking and quick reactions. Not necessarily all the time is it the pass has to be on, of course, but it's quick thinking. I've seen so many times where he gets it and he just slows it down. It allows the team to get back into shape, and then you've got to try and break the block down then. And that's the issues I have with him. I've got Stekelenburg stats here actually from the PSV and the Ajax game. So his are similar to more so to Alisson. So he had 3 saves, 1 punches, 1 high claim, 44 touches, but had 83.3 accurate passes. So again, distribution far much better. 12 out of 18 long balls he had, which is, over half of what you should get, which is decent. So that's the Stekelenburg. I'm pretty sure he's their second keeper or something like that. And I know you can bring shot stopping and stuff into that, but even says on that he made 3 saves, 3 decent saves. So yeah, the keeper issue is definitely a worry for me. One more thing I wanted to touch on, just on midfield. So Davy Klaassen for them, who's a very good technical footballer, who he had a decent game against PSV. So he had 86 minutes played, 1 assist, only 50 touches, 2 key passes, 2 out of 4 long balls, 3 out of 3 dribble attempts, 7 out of 9 ground duels, and lost possession 15 times. But you compare them stats to like how Matic did against Liverpool. Let me just get them up because I don't know where they've gone now. Give me 2 seconds.
Well, I know Matic had a very bad game. It was particularly, I can't wait to actually see his passing success rate, because from what I remember, he was giving away the ball a lot.
Let me check.
It is a worry though, particularly in that position, because it's someone that we really need. Could you see maybe us going for Klaassen? I know he's on the older side, but maybe a bit of experience.
Something like that wouldn't surprise. Even someone like a Daley Blind wouldn't surprise me. Bringing someone back like that, just as like a versatile utility player who could play, a number of positions, really good on the ball. I didn't think he was that bad for Manchester United. Now, to my surprise, Nemanja Matic's accurate passes was only a little bit below Klaassen. But I think Klaassen was much more advanced with his passing. I think a lot of Matic's one when he's near the defence and he's sprayed it side to side. 0 out of 1 crosses, 2 out of 3 long balls, 1 decent dribble attempt, but then 3 out of 7 ground duels. So he's winning less than 50% of his ground duels, 1 out of 2 aerial duels, 1 foul and 1 clearance, 6.4 rating for Nemanja Matic. And his heat map's basically just like 2 orange dots. I'd love to get his distance covered because he just can't do it. This is what we were seeing after the Liverpool game, when he cannot cover distance at all, like Fred can, for example. Like the way the game is at the minute, unless you're dominating possession, like how Rodri does for City, you need a player who's athletic as well as technical. You need a blend of both. And Matic is technical, but he's far down the peak in terms of physicality, how long he can last in a game. Another worry.
Yeah, because we've seen it. He was breathing heavily. Him and Jones were in the first, 10 mintes?
Yeah, like Jones especially, fucking hell. Saw him, like, it was a set piece after 15 minutes. He was like, actually doing that, though, like,
poor Philip.
Blowing out of his ass. And then he came off after, it was like 20 minutes, something like that. And then I want to, in terms of individual stats, I want to end it on Marcus Rashford, which I went back and had a look, but due to copyright things, I can't put his clips on here. So if you do it, just go check out on Twitter. You'll see plenty of clips of it, how many times he lost the ball. So he had 26 touches in that game. He played the full 90 minutes pretty much. Well, I think he did play the full 90 minutes, actually. Did he get taken off, Rashford? Don't feel like he did.
The full 90.
Yeah. So I went down on the last game and said, I did a video on it and said that was probably the worst cameo from a sub I've ever seen when he came on. Who was that against now? Who did he play before Liverpool?
Norwich.
Leicester? No, Norwich. It might have been Norwich or Leicester. I can't remember, but he came on as a sub and it was the worst sub I've ever seen. But in this game, in particular against Liverpool, he had 26 touches, 73% accurate passes, which still feels pretty high for me. 11. And then you've got 1 out of 6 ground duels won. So again, no fight, no bite. Is reckless in his tackling as well. 0 out of 2 aerial duels. Lost possession 12 times, but the thing on that is, it seems like that's a bit of a long number, but it's how we lost it in key moments. So that's like, if you like you have with key passes, that would be possession lost in key areas. When he gets on the right-hand side, he's got a bit of space to open up, and then he runs into blind alleys. We know what Marcus Rashford does. Or there's a man who runs in behind like a Sancho or someone making a third run. Coming back, doesn't play it. These are the ones that's worrying. So there's more in depth to this than the stats actually tell on that one. Offside twice, again, no shock there. 1 foul, 1 tackle, 1 dribbled past. So 6.1 rating for Marcus Rashford on that. And that sums it up for me. That's just a few players that we've mentioned from excuse me, from United. You've got Diego Dallo with 40% accurate passes. You've got David De Gea with 40% accurate pass percentage. Marcus Rashford losing the ball constantly, not playing the right pass, running into blind alleys. That's just 3 players there that you can highlight with different issues. There's plenty.
You know what the big thing is as well? We compared both teams. They both lost those games, and you could still argue that the Ajax players had a good game. Meanwhile, you can't argue any United player had a good game.
Exactly, and that's a cup final. Anything can happen in cup finals. It's one of them. They are very random. I guarantee. It's why I did it on that, because I thought, it's going to look a bit biased if I just go to an Ajax league game where they sort of stroll through it and they win 4-5-0. I wanted to look at a game where they slightly struggled, but they were still dominant in possession, still created loads of chances.
It's probably both teams' last game, is it?
Yeah. Is it what? Who? Sorry.
I think it's their last game, both sides. It's the last game they've played since we're on here now.
Oh, right. I'm with you. Yeah. I think so. So, yeah, interesting. Moving on to the man himself. We spoke about it at the start of the video. I don't know if you want to go first on this or if you want me to go first. I can't remember. I
can get his stats up from this season. You're looking at the Eredivisie.
Ten Hag, by the way.
Ten Hag, yeah. Ten Hag, yeah. 29 games managed this season. He's won 23 of them, drawn 3 and lost 3. So that's a points per game of 2.48, which again is insane. But people complain about how they're Eredivisie, it's, a farmers league. That's a big quote that's thrown around. Like PSV are after beating Ajax there in the cup final. Feyenoord looks strong too. And there's a few connections coming now. Ruud van Nistelrooy is going to be taking over PSV in the summer. So there is connections there with the Netherlands we have. It's, for me, it mightn't be up there with, one of the better leagues, but it's definitely competitive. Like it isn't a farmers league.
A lot of young talent in that league as well coming through.
Exactly.
Young, bright talent.
And overall this season, 2.4 points per game. His win rate is 76.74%, which again is insane. Very, very high. Goals per game, 2.98, nearly averaging 3 goals a game, and conceding 0.67 goals per game on average. Again, conceding less than 1. Our average, I think, is 1.6 this season. We're conceding, which is shocking.
That's not great. It seems like every stat we're giving out here is just fucking, it's depressing in United favour, isn't it? There's not one that we've read out and be like, oh, that's all right actually for Manchester United. All right.
Exactly. It's been a difficult season, let's be honest. We all can't wait for it to wait. We can't wait for this clear out. And for me, my favourite option is that he's coming, he's been chosen. Let's just hope it works out. Fingers crossed.
And let's take a look at his overall stats. So that's obviously just for the league this season, but so obviously with Ajax, it's been his most successful stint. He has recorded a 73.81 win with a Dutch club. That's in his whole time whilst he's been there. So that's even more impressive. So that shows a level of consistency. He's managed 210 games, winning 155 of them and securing a goal difference, a total of 393. So scores a lot of goals, plays exciting football and brings through young players, which, just sounds like the perfect job ad for Manchester United. His least successful win record was with the Go-Ahead Eagles back in 2012, but still led them to promotion in that season. So still some positives there. there's let me just go into his other ones stats. Sorry, 2 secs. And then you look at the players that he's brought in whilst he's been at Ajax. So his most expensive signing was former West Ham striker Sebastian Haller. Haller was experiencing an unhappy spell in London and had previously signed with Utrecht back in 2015 for £670,000, which most people probably didn't know. Ten Hag actually worked with Haller before West Ham. So that's probably where the link came from. That's why he knew he'd probably fit in that system as a target man. And then obviously he scored, 11 goals, is it, in the Champions League? Something since he's brought him in. This is a player who looks like deadbeat, look like, he couldn't hack the Prem, just looked shit. And, in a respectful way. And then he brought him to Ajax and he's just absolutely killed it since he's been here. And that's mainly because of the type of coach that Ten Hag is.
Yeah.
So yeah, he took the opportunity and bought him for 20 million and hasn't looked back since. Another player, former United player, Daley Blind, is another one on Ten Hag's top. He was top signings. He was bought after Jose Mourinho made him available in 2018 for a fee of 14 million. And Daley Blind's been a staple in that team, kind of similar to how, like Dennis Irwin was for us. He was never the best player on the pitch, but he was always consistent and always one of the first players in the team.
Always 7 out of 10.
Yeah. Really reliable player. And he brought Daley Blind in and he's done a wonderful job for them. Another Premier League player, Dusan Tadic, or as I said it, Susan Tadic, if you remember, is another of Ten Hag's great successes. The winger was brought in from Southampton for just a price tag of £12 million. So, Haller, 20 million, Daley Blind, 14 million. And Tadic, you think how Tadic played for Ajax, the things he's done at the Bernabeu, the assist record that he broke with Messi, £12 million. Like, it's another astute signing, and it shows how he can be active in the market. A player that's played for him now currently, does a really good role for him in the DM, is Edson Alvarez, become a playmaker as well, alongside a DM, kind of similar to what Conte did with Brozovic at Inter. They could do both sides of the game. Bought him for 14 million, similar price tag, very cheap, working with a budget. And then, not to mention the young players he's actually brought through and guided and made much better players. So the likes of Donny van de Beek, Barcelona's Frankie de Jong, Matthias de Ligt, now at Juventus, of course. And then young South Americans like that, Lisandro Martinez. You got Antony, the Brazilian winger, David Neres, Ziyech, all these kind of players he has made far, far better. And that's one of when you look at Jurgen Klopp or you look at Pep, they take these sort of rough diamonds, bring them into the team and make them much better. That is like one of their big traits. Like, look at Jurgen Klopp, what he's done with some of the players in there. Like, he's made Sadio Mane, like Mo Salah was a Chelsea reject. He went over to Roma, signing from there. He's now arguably one of the best players in the world. Like, best player in the Prem by far. So he's turned these rejects or whatever, or teams who didn't want him, into superstars. And that's exactly what Ten Hag's done with Susan Tadic and Haller. Players who people don't want. And that's why I'm saying, if you look into recruitment now when we go into the summer, there might be players who he brings in who, some people are like, not sure about him.
Nose up at.
Yeah. I don't know if he's going to do a decent job there. Like, that's why I'm saying someone like a Daley Blind, someone who could actually play in possession-based teams and be, keep hold of the ball and not panic under pressure. Matic can do that to a certain extent, but his physicality now is just so low down that it kind of, you know what I mean? You don't just want to take his technical ability for the sake of it, for me anyway, at least. So, yeah, looking at his recruitment, it's going to be interesting. That's why I'm more excited for the transfer window now, just to bring a come full circle. I'm excited to see what happens in the transfer market. I really want to know what players he's going for. I know we've been linked with the likes of Tchouameni, Nkunku, Darwin Núñez, Neves, Declan Rice, Kane, but let's just finish on this. Who do you think, if you used to put money on it now, I do, who do you think he's going to go for? I want to see if you could try and get at least one of the signings that he makes.
I think he's going to probably take Timber with him. I think he's identified that we need a centre-back, someone who's fast. Obviously, Varane has his injury issues. We don't know what's going to happen with Harry Maguire yet. Rumours going around that he wants to strip the captaincy of him. And will it be the end of him? Who knows? I definitely probably say Timber. looking into midfield, it's a tough one. Honestly, I'd love Nkunku. Obviously, Ralph really, really likes the guy.
I like him. He'd be my number one choice, Nkunku. He really would.
Yeah, he can play multiple positions. I think that's a player you want to have in your team, someone who can fill in different slots if there's an injury or anything like that. Because look at us now, we're going through an injury crisis and we have no one. We have no player who can, step up and actually play a different position. They're all fixed to one position.
And that's another versatile player as well. I know we spoke previously about Nkunku on this show before. Actually spoken about him on Statman. But he can play so many different positions. His stats this season are similar to like what Bruno's was when he first came to United. And they're similar to, I saw in the comparison with Jadon Sancho. They're better than Jadon Sancho's stats were in the peak when he was at Dortmund. And this is a player that Rangnick's, suggested to the board. And they weren't even scouting him. Crazy. No. Absolutely crazy.
But let's not forget they had 800 right backs after Wan-Bissaka. So their scouting system, they go into depth to say.
Yeah, well, apparently on that same sheet, they didn't see a Cancelo on there, or they didn't see a Lamptey, or they didn't see someone like that. Like, just Wan-Bissaka popped up. I bet it was just that someone picked it out of a hat, didn't they? And they were just like, yeah, fuck it, we'll go for him. Pay whatever it is you want for him. Yeah, like nuts. So who? So I'm going to clip this up for the summer when it actually happens. 3 names right now. So you said Timber, didn't you?
Timber, yeah.
Do you say him?
I'm going to go.
Who did you say? Who else did you say?
It's tough. Is it Chouameni?
So whoever gets this gets bragging rights. So I'm interested. So you think Timber, Chouameni? That'll be 2 great signings, by the way.
Yeah, and we need a striker. And they said Romano said we're 100% signing a striker too. So
a young striker.
Tough one. I really don't know. You have Nunes, you do, but
you've got Isaac at Real Sociedad, Jonathan David at Lille,
Richarlison,
yeah, we've been linked with as well.
Mm-hmm.
Well, who do you think is the most realistic out of them?
It's so tough.
You go with a different signing if you want. You can go with a keeper, with a wing back, with whatever you want. I'm just curious to think what's the most realistic one.
I'll just go with Nunes. Why not? Okay. So what I want. Yeah, I'd love him.
Yeah. So they're the 3 ones I would have gone for. So I'll go with something different. I'll go maybe with something outside the box. Something more unlikely to say. So I'll say Ruben Neves. I think it's got a good chance of us signing him. I think we'll get it for a decent fee. Could be a Ten Hag player. I'll go with Daley Blind because he can play both centre back and wing back if we need him. Maybe a little bit too slow for the Prem. I'm not sure, but we'll see. That's just a very outside the box kind of shout. Mm-hmm. And then I'll go for, I would say a keeper who can play with his feet. Well, do both sides of the game ultimately, but I can't think of one that sticks out in my head at the minute, like a young keeper. So that might not be an issue we go to address straight away. So I'll just say David Blind.
Sevilla keeper, Bono.
What's his body? Yeah, I can't pronounce his name. I'm not even going to attempt it.
But he has Bono written at the back.
Yeah. And I do think we need a winger, but it won't be prioritised above a centre-back or a midfielder. So that's why I'm not going to go for that. So I'll say Neves, Blind. I think he's going to bring a lot of the young players back, like Garner, Mabry, and Ahmad, like I said before. Another centre mid should I go for? Chouameni would be my first pick all the time. Yeah, Donny will come back in, be like a new signing, literally.
Yeah.
Chouameni would be my first pick, but who else would I bring? Declan Rice, I'll go with. I'll say Declan Rice, Ruben Neves, Daley Blind. Let's go a little bit different. You said Chouameni, Timber, and who was the other one?
Nunes. Obvious choices.
I hope it's the choices that you've picked. But again, it'd be interesting to see, even if they go with my choice. But yeah, we'll see what happens. Very exciting times with Manchester United going into the summer. Not towards the end of the season. It's fucking boring shit, hard to watch times. But we've got 6 games left, 7 games left, something along the lines of that. We've got Arsenal on the weekend, which we'll have obviously the preview for tomorrow, and then we'll be live for match day again. hopefully watching a nice result, and we'll all be happy as fuck after it because it's an early
Then
kick-off.
We'll kind of be like, oh, top four is back on if we beat them.
Oh, yeah. I'm like, them words will
man.
never come out of my mouth now to the end of the season. It's get to the end of the season, whatever happens. It is what it is. Let's get cracking with next season. That's my mentality.
Exactly.
How I am now, because I very much thought we're getting top four. I'd love to see the odds on it, but yeah. So just to let you guys know before the end of the show, as I said, then preview tomorrow. That'll be dropping about 7-8 o'clock, something along the lines of that. So a nice Friday night watch. Obviously, we'll have the Ralph press conference as well, so we'll have a few quotes from that to dig into and some topical items as always with United. Match day on Saturday, 12:30 kickoff, I think it is. Early kickoff's always a bit of a mad one. Arsenal coming off a really good result against Chelsea. Us coming off an absolute slapping from Liverpool. So, yeah, make your own mind up on what's going to happen in that game. And yeah, sorry about the show yesterday. We were supposed to have a show where people send in clips talking about Manchester United, and then we discuss it live on the show. We've had quite a few clips sent in from you guys, so thank you for that. That's been rescheduled for next week due to family matters. It is what it is. It's one of them, we couldn't record it, so that'll be filmed next week. And yeah, that's it. Thank you for coming on, Adam. Make sure for anybody watching, please subscribe to the YouTube channel. We're on about 110 subs at the minute, so we obviously want to get that up, and any support is, much appreciated, trust me. Like, comment, share, follow us on all the socials, just type in Real Red Stock. If you want to follow Adam, I'm pretty sure it's Adam G187, is it? Something like that?
197.
197. Missed one digit out, I was close. On any socials, and I'm Nick McCabe _123. Follow me anywhere. Thank you again, Adam, for coming on. Appreciate your time, mate.
No problem.
Perfect.
Always a joy coming on.
Yeah, man. This has been Statman and Robin. I'm Nick. This is Adam. We'll see you in the next one. Take care.